Hello everybody, welcome to Civ House. I'm Rob, and today we are going to be talking about the man, the myth. He's not really a legend or really a myth, but an incredible leader for this game, Genghis Khan. Here in Civ 7, he has just come out very recently, depending on when you're watching this, or maybe a little bit later if you're jumping into this a little bit later. With the Right to Rule collection, he's the first of two leaders that we are going to be receiving if you have bought this new DLC, this new expansion to Civilization 7. And like I said, I mean, he's really an awesome leader. I'm excited to kind of talk about him and dive into the best civs, the three best civs that we have for him. I'm going to take you guys kind of which path I would go to now that civs are completely unlocked as well. I think that that's going to make this even easier, although I think that this path would have been a pretty easy one. Before we dive any deeper, I am going to ask you guys and that you subscribe. Like if you enjoyed these videos, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the great content we have coming out here at Civ House. Let me know in the comment section below, what path do you like to take with him if you're playing with him? What one will you play with him if you get the opportunity to? And then also a shout out real quick to Jacobian, our member here at Civ House, our main guy right now. You guys are able to join the memberships. I believe you should just be able to find it on the channel. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up and some benefits. And if nothing else, it supports us and we appreciate that immensely. But let's get into it here. So he's one of the big leaders that have been, I believe, in every single Civ game at this point. I think there are more that should be on the way here relatively soon. But Genghis Khan is, I mean, he's really strong, to say the least. Looking at his ability, +3 combat strength for cavalry units, or +5 when in an army commander radius. Army commanders have +1 movement even when no units are packed onto them or into them. Excuse me. And then once per age, army commanders can use the convert independent actions or independence action to convert adjacent independent military units to your control. Look, I mean, this is incredibly good. Like, if you are somebody who's like me, who likes to play militarily, I mean, this is going to be one of the strongest leaders that you can use for pretty much any playthrough. Now, obviously, he's another one of those leaders that's going to kind of lean like Charlemagne towards, cavalry units. They did nerf them semi-recently. Not a lot, but a little bit. And I think that they are still pretty strong. I feel like they kind of always have been in Civilization. But, just the convert independence action is pretty insane on its own. But along with that, right, you are getting this insane bonus. Your armies are going to be able to move very quickly. It's going to be like the Mongol invasions, where he's just kind of rampaging through stuff and able to take a lot of things. But it's going to be, how are you able to kind of keep that sort of, army moving? How are you going to be able to keep your cities and your empire put together? One of the things about the Mongolian Empire is that it kind of quickly falls apart, and it's something that I think is going to have to be kind of addressed even in this game, honestly. So you will have to watch out for that, but we're going to start off with Civ number 1, and it's going to be one of the ones that came with it, which is Assyria. So what I mean by that is this came in the Right to Rule pack as well, and it is crazy good by itself, but even with Genghis Khan, it's even stronger. So the Civ ability is that you gain a technology upon capturing a settlement for the first time. Codices are not awarded from technologies, can generate codices from conquest after completing the Tupsarutu Civic. I'm sure I butchered that, but this fits in so well with the way that Genghis Khan is going to be playing, because you're going to be taking a lot of settlements. You don't need to really settle them much on your own. It's kind of just get your guys rolling and start moving, right? Like maybe build like a small base of 2 or 3 cities. That should really be all that you need. And then you start pulling out these Magarus, which are, unique tier 2 cavalry units. They replace the chariots. Think about how crazy this is with Genghis Khan, because you're already getting the bonus, right, that you would with him. We'll talk about this here in a second, but the Turtanu as well, which is the unique commander, but it's ignoring the zone of control. It exerts zone of control. It can move after attacking, which is ridiculous. It has a higher movement, which will keep up with the higher movement that you're already going to get from your commanders, and it can be upgraded, once again. Its strength is already very strong, and the fact that you can ignore the zone of control, you're getting that +5 strength, most likely, from Genghis Khan already. I mean, this thing is ridiculous. Then you put in the Turtanu, which is melee and cavalry units within the command radius gain +5 combat strength against districts. So you are going to be moving like death balls, basically, for all of your commanders. You're just going to kind of put them in, one hexagon, essentially, like one, big hexagon, and you're just going to move them as like wrecking balls into every single settlement, into every single civ that you can possibly, go after. And that's got overrun, obviously, which is a really strong ability. You're going to be able to, take out a lot of units very, very quickly. You're going to be able to move in and out as fast as you would like to. You're getting +10 for a lot of these Magarus as well, and it's just going to not really be fair. If somebody runs into you, like, there's going to be very little that they can do to stop you. Along with this, even if you didn't go fully military, which is what I would suggest, the Royal Library is really good. You got your +3 science. You're getting adjacency bonuses by rivers and wonders. You're probably not going to build a ton of wonders as Genghis Khan, but that's okay. You'll have codicy slots as well. Then you have the Citadel, which is absolutely insane by itself. You're getting +3 production, which is great, but then it's a fortified district that has to be captured, that has to be conquered, I should say, before you capture the settlement. It's getting a little bit of adjacency bonus, +2 happiness if it's built on flat land. But then the quarter, the Ikalu, you're getting the increased production for each of the great works, right? So all of that's kind of building in with the science that you're going to be getting as well with this, and that production that I was talking about. And what's even crazier is it's still part of that Citadel build. So even if you're out there conquering a bunch of stuff, right? If you have just a couple archers, back at, at your main cities, essentially, you have these citadels already put down, these Ikalu built. Dude, you're just going to be really, really hard to beat, because it's going to be hard to conquer you, and it's going to be hard to stop you from just kind of snowballing your way through the game. The Beer Tutu as well is really cool. You're getting +2 culture for each technology that you have mastered. So with these royal libraries, then you're getting culture. So it's almost, not completely, but it's a little bit like Ada in that way. So you're getting, you're keeping yourself from getting completely too far behind in tech and too far behind in your civic trees, which is pretty insane when you think about it. Then once you get this Tupsarutu, when you capture a settlement for the first time, you're going to receive a codex as well. So you are able truly to go full military and full science while still expanding with Genghis Khan. The Kibrat Arbai, I'm sorry if I'm messing that up, is the last part of this one, and this is nuts, really and truly. +5 combat strength, another, by the way, to the Magaru if they are in the command radius. So, and then you get a mastery note, which is pretty crazy too, of +20 science and captured settlements. So, like, this is made for Genghis Khan. You are going to have your death balls rolling. Then as you capture and, get these cities rolling as well, you'll get more technology. Thus, you will get more culture, which is kind of crazy to think about. And then you're also going to have just these incredibly overpowered, in my opinion, Magarus that are just going to take over the battlefield, you really and truly could conquer most of your home continent, depending on how big your map is, very early on in the game. What you are going to have to watch out for is running out of money. There's really not much in this kit that is going to help you with money. There's not a lot either with happiness. You will want to have a controlled expansion to a certain degree. But, I don't think it's bad if instead of you just taking settlements too quickly, you're just kind of wiping out militaries and then waiting for the opportune time to take out their cities and their towns. So, pretty incredible start here, by the way. Again, that is just the start. Then we head over with the Exploration Age to Mongolia, which could it have been anything else? No. Obviously, Genghis Khan was the ruler here, so I mean, look, when you capture an opposing settlement, so if you haven't captured them all already, you can go over to the next, to the next continent and easily just kind of take that over and do what you need to here. But, when you capture an opposing settlement, you gain the strongest cavalry unit that you can currently train, but receive minus 50% production towards settlers, gain a victory point towards the non-sufficient Orbis victory for controlled settlements in the distant lands and conquered settlements in the homeland. So, I mean, look, you can, if you haven't already conquered your main continent, you can do this here with Mongolia. You're also going to be able to really go overseas and do it on the other continents as well. What's really crazy when you think about it is, so what if you're losing this 50% production towards settlements? You're already getting stronger cavalry units because of Genghis Khan. Then you have the Keshig, which is, a ranged unit this time. So, a little bit of a different strategy for you to use. But, you're getting the increased movement at it. It obviously counts as cavalry unit. It also ignores zone of control. So another unit that does that. And it's going to heal itself when eliminating an enemy unit with a ranged attack. So not only are you now able to attack from a distance, you are able to keep your units healed up. You are able to kind of move in and out. You're getting those, cavalry unit bonuses, right? You're getting those extra movements as well. Then you have the Noyan, which is another unique commander that you get with Mongolia. It already has increased movement, plus an extra movement on top of it with Genghis Khan, and you're getting increased sight, so you can really map out your battles just a little bit better. Then you get 50% flanking bonus, or flanking damage, to cavalry units within the command radius. So again, your death balls just kind of get to continue on into the Exploration Age, and instead of you necessarily having to get too close, right, you can just go out there. Even if you're defending, even if you are surrounded, if you're within that command, radius, then you can attack everything before they even get to you and likely, take out quite a few units. That would be a problem. Then you have the Ortu, which is insane because you're getting that 5 gold instantly. A lot of you have played this already, but I'm kind of just putting it back in here. And when, a unit moves onto this tile, its movement is restored. So, you're wanting to build these, by the way, as you're conquering settlements. We'll talk about that here in a second. But, you're getting these death balls with Genghis Khan already. Then, if you just kind of put your commanders and stuff back on here, then you're rolling out even more and able to kind of reposition yourself if you need to. You're able to get out there and quickly make things happen. You conquer a settlement, you buy an Ortu, you're Genghis Khan, and you're continuing to roll over people as this giant death ball. Then the Ulus as well are very nice. You really obviously want it more for, Ulus is in the civic tree. I apologize, but its mastery is that you get +1 settlement. Something that you're gonna need because again, I think your happiness, like those are your two limits: is money and how big your empire can grow without happiness becoming a problem. This helps at least a little bit, although to be honest, at this point you're probably well over the settlement limit. We'll have to see how that one goes. Luckily, you have the 4 Hound Civic, which gives you a free commander and +1 settlement limit. So, I mean, again, all of this is just playing into it so well. You got your Yasas. The Ortu receives 4 gold in the settlements not founded by you. That's what I was talking about. You want those Ortus over there in those brand new places that you have taken over. Buy one as quickly as you possibly can. Have your units moving around in them. Plus, you're getting extra gold. It looks like an extra 9 gold on top of this. This is where your money starts to come in, by the way. And you are able to start more sufficiently keeping your empire well stocked that you've already done as the Assyrians. So it's like this whole build right now is supporting a military in so many different ways. You're keeping up with tech, with the Assyrians, a little bit of culture thrown in there as well. Now you're leaning more into the money parts of it, and you're still able to start going across the oceans and taking stuff out. It's really an incredible way to play this game. I know that it's not going to be as easy as just kind of, get set up and start, walking over everybody. But if there is not a conjoined effort to take you out early as Assyria, by the time you get to Mongolia, at that point, you're just conquering to conquer things, and you will probably never have to buy another settler after these first, I don't even know, maybe 30 or 40 turns, from the Antiquity Age. Exploration Age is fun. You're going to be, completing those military victory paths very, very well, very easily, and it's going to allow you to head into the Modern Age and be able to play as Prussia, which really, again, wasn't going to be anything else. Units receive +1 combat strength for every unfriendly or worse relationship with other civilizations. Now, here's the thing. You may have taken out a couple of civilizations along the way. If you have made it to this point, right, and have not conquered a good chunk of the map, and you're rolling over everybody, then I guess you still get to keep kind of going here. You'll have the Hussars, right, which are another, unique cavalry unit. They are very strong in their own right. They get +1 combat strength for every movement it has remaining. So if you've kind of got them already stuck and in battle, it's just going to make them even stronger. You're getting the Genghis Khan movements. You're getting the Genghis Khan, combat strength bonus. Sorry, brain's farting there. So many good things. Then you have the Stukas as well, which can continue your aerial, supremacy this time. Also, I will say your navy's not going to be very strong, but it may not really matter if you can just get over to the other continent during the Exploration Age before everybody else's navy gets really strong as well. Then you have, I don't even know how to pronounce this specifically, but it's their improved railroad, which is great. Obviously, going to get your units moving pretty quickly. You're getting the gold. You're getting the production that you need as you head down the military legacy path to try to end things, because obviously you've been military this whole time. Why wouldn't you start building the nuke and trying to blow everybody up? Just saying. Then you have the Ruhr Civic here that's giving you that +2 science on resources for the mastery. Then all buildings gaining 1 production for navigable rivers. So look, I mean, you're already going to probably have some cities on navigable rivers, whether they're yours or you've conquered them or you're going to conquer them. So that's going to really help. The Zolvarines as well, which allows you to keep those trade routes even if everybody is pissed off at you and at war with you. The +1 settlement unit is awesome. The EMS dispatch helps you to get that Brandenburg Gate, which could be useful. And then the one that starts with a B, the cavalry units gain the skirmish keyword, plus 50% combat from flanking bonuses are back on your Hussars. And look, man, like, by the time some of this stuff starts becoming a problem, your army is just so big, I don't know that it's going to really matter. You will have to watch out for war support the more I think about it as well. That is something that could obviously negate some of your bonuses, so you'll need to be careful if you're playing against like a diplomatic leader, specifically like like a Tubman, perhaps she could be a bit of a problem for you. But in all reality, like, this is probably the strongest military leader in the game at this point. And this build path, especially with Assyria, in Antiquity Age, you get such a good start, but by the time you get to Prussia, which I would argue is the premier military civ in the modern age, your army is just so massive at this point. You still have plenty of gold that you've gotten from the exploration age. The military victory paths, for the legacy path specifically, should be no issue at this point. You may also just be able to take over the entire world as Mongolia, but it's about being within that control. You will have the units to be able to do it. It's about not spreading yourself too thin, as I talked about at the very beginning of this video. If you can do it correctly, there's no way that you should really lose too often when playing as Genghis Khan. The restrictions have been taken down. You don't even have to worry about what civ you're going to pick anymore. Although if you look at it, he literally gets all three of these. It looks like, or at least these are choices that they're offering here. I just think that he's super incredibly strong. I worry a little bit that he might be too strong. I have a very distinct feeling they may need to nerf him at least a little bit, maybe take away a little bit of combat strength, because most of the time your armies are going to be within the radius anyways. Now, obviously, it makes it so that you can't just create a line, right, necessarily, unless you just have a ton of commanders. But I don't know, man. I've seen Connor playing him. I've started a game as him. He just feels so incredibly strong that it's kind of dumb at this point. So we will have to see by the time you watch this video. Maybe they have nerfed him, right? There may be other civs that have come out, but regardless, this is a great path for now and likely for the future of this game as well. I do see an Assyria nerf in the future as well, but I still think that this will be really, really, really strong. I'm excited for us to do some tier lists and stuff with both of these civs and with Genghis Khan added. We'll probably do one closer to when the end of Right to Rule in September, that second part of the DLC comes out. But that is going to wrap it up for us here at Civ House on this video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what I may have missed. I don't always get everything, but hopefully at a minimum you guys have enjoyed this and this helps you think about it a little bit more. But like I said, that's going to wrap it up for us. So from our house Sears, thanks for watching, and we hope you'll join us for one more turn.